Shalom, 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 Shabbat shalom. Oh, I heard myself again. So, welcome to the Ark of New Jersey. Shabbat shalom. Got a few people in here. Let's see if I can hear them. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Yeah, that sounds much better. So, a couple of weeks ago, I just I was moved by the Ruach to talk about the covenant. And so we did a teaching and I didn't broadcast it. I'm sorry, but welcome to the Ark, everyone that's visiting. For those of you that are online, we welcome you to the Ark of New Jersey, Philadelphia. Somebody said Delaware. So we're so appreciative of you being a part of us and listening in, eavesdropping, ear hustling, so that you this message is all about ear hustling, all right? Because there was somebody that was ear hustling in this message, but we're going to go into looking at maybe a foreign looking from a foreign direction, because most of us have learned about these covenants that were given to Yah's people, and I think that we've some people have done a great job trying to show it, and some people have kind of like skimmed over the top of it, and only if you get some of those drinks from a coffee shop, they got a lot of fuzz on the top. They taste real sweet, but there's no substance to it. And so you got to dive in if you want to really get the caffeine out and get what's really the essence of what's going on there. And so the same thing with the covenant. I think a lot of us are just like sipped off the top and haven't really looked into some of the what a covenant is. And so because they have no clue, but they feel comfortable feeling clueless. There was a movie out called Clueless in Seattle, right? TV show or something. But I think a lot of us love being clueless, love being in the fog. So we talked about Noah and the ark and the covenant that was given during that time. And now we want to look at Abraham. But when we look at Abraham, we can't just go to the one particular place where it says, and God says, I'm making a covenant with you. You have to go a little bit, we're going to go a little deeper. So let's quickly go to Bereshit 15. Genesis 15. There's a reason why I hesitated to even say anything more than Bereshit, because someone said Genesis and maybe, and so I followed through. I'm like, yeah, Genesis. But watch what happens here. So let's just read through. This is a quick little chapter, and we're going to fall right in after these things and move right into the text. You're going to see the action of two beings, one natural and one supernatural. So you're going to see the action of Abraham, and you'll see the action of Yahweh, rather. Ready? So someone read for me.
After these things, the word of Yahuwah came to Abraham in a vision, saying, "Fear not, Abram, I am your shield and your exceeding great reward." And Abram said, Adonai Yahuwah, what will you give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eleazar of Damascus? And Abram said, Behold, to me you have given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is my heir. And behold, the word of Yahuwah came unto him, saying, This shall not be your heir, but he that shall come forth out of your own generation shall be your heir. And he brought him forth abroad and said, Look now toward the heavens, and count the stars, if you be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall your seed be.
Okay, so starting right off the jump, he's like, how is this going to happen? He says, you're going to be, something strange is going to happen out of your seed. So right at the very beginning, he has a vision, and him and y'all, and pay attention to when there's a vision, pay attention when there's a dream, pay attention to when someone is speaking to him directly, because all these things happen. All right, so here he's having a vision, and y'all saying something to him, and he's telling him what's going to occur in his life. And he tells him to look at the sky. So you're wondering if he's still in the vision. Is he waking up yet? But when you look in the sky, I thought about this, thinking about the sky this morning. Are they the same stars in the sky today as they were back then? You know, your things have fallen. Pretty much the same, right? If you see the moon, you see the same moon, right? This is only me now. If you're in Israel, you see the same moon that you see in America. You see it in the same, like it doesn't flip upside down. Like you see a pattern on it and it still stays the same. Now the constellation moves, shifts, right? But it's still the same. The Little Dipper is that was back then is still the Little Dipper today. The Big Dipper, as they call them, they have these names for them, right? They still remain the same. There's just a very few things that move, stars that move, but when they move, they set off a signal to us. And I don't know that we know the signals that much anymore because we don't get up and look at the stars, do we? Most of us don't even pay attention to stars be like shifting and doing something and we don't even pay attention to it unless it's falling on you. Then now you got a problem. All right, so here we are. I want to bring that to your attention because we're going to trust me. There's a method to my madness. Where are we at? Verse 6.
And he believed in Yahuwah, and he counted it to him for righteousness. And he said unto him, I am Yahuwah that brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans, and give you this land to inherit it. And he said, Adonai Yahuwah, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, Take me a heifer of 3 years old, and a she goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took unto him all these, and divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another. But the birds divided he not. And when the fowls came down upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram. And lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that your seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And
that should be highlighted, underline, maybe take a copy of it, enlarge it, and use it as a bookmark, because this is the beginning of the covenant that Yah starts breaking out with Abraham. First thing he does is put him in a deep sleep. And then he tells him, no, assuredly, your people will be a stranger. There's nothing that we should feel strange in this land. Something's wrong with that when everybody feels so comfortable. If you're truly his people, something shouldn't set right with you. Somebody said, there's no difference between them and us. Well, that's because you're part of them. There should be something different. All right.
Verse 14. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterwards shall they come out with great substance. And
all right. Reprobation. Did I say that right? Reparations. Thank you. I always mess those two words up. But we will come through with great wealth. And prior to that, he says, these people will be judged. I don't want to make this thing into a black and white thing, but the nation that abused, used, and trampled over us will be judged. And if you do it in sequence, they'll be judged before we get our payment. All right, come on. I have a lot that I want us to go through, and I have a short period of time to do it. Come on.
Verse 15.
15.
And you shall go to your fathers in peace. You shall be buried in a good old age. But in the fourth generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorim is not yet full. And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp that passed between those pieces. In the same day, Yahuwah cut a covenant with Abram, saying, unto your seed have I given this land, from the river of Mitzrayim unto the great river, the river Parat. The Queniim and the Kezinim and the Quadmonium and the Chittium and the Perizzium and the Rephaim and the Amorim and the Canaanite and the Girgashim and the Yebusium.
Okay. Congratulations. So Genesis 15 gives you a glimpse of the covenant. Very good, but it's a glimpse. The other Genesis will elaborate on this even more. The other Genesis is, anybody know what the other Genesis is? Jubilee. So let's go to Jubilee, because you need to, they took these books away from us for a reason, right? Now we're finding these books and checking them out and doing some research on them. And when we do, I think you're going to find some truth that was hidden. When I talked about the mystery of godliness before, I said there's some things that are missing that we don't. Okay. Tower of Babel. Right? Everybody knows about the Tower of Babel. They know of it. Just like everybody knew about Samson. But they really didn't. We got into it a little more, and we started seeing a little bit more about Samson that was never revealed before to us, or at least some of us said that, right? They were, man, I did not see that before. So let's share something about the Tower of Babel. We're going to Jubilees, chapter 12. You're going to see this, right? So I'll give you the Cliff Notes. Everyone know what they spoke before when they went up in the Tower of Babel? They spoke Hebrew?
One language.
One language. So one person says they spoke Hebrew. Another person said they spoke one language. Any other?
One language.
What, you know they spoke one language. Okay. When they came out of, after the judgment came, What language did they speak? Confusion, many languages. What else? Anything else? Watch this. When they went into the tower, they spoke Hebrew. So you get the right answer. You get a Jolly Rancher. When they came out of the tower, they spoke multiple languages, but one language was forgotten. Y'all gave them multiple languages, but they lost the language of the Hebraic language. Isn't that crazy?
So they relearn it at some point?
Let's read the book. so there are a multiple layers here. When I look at Ezra, they lost the law. They came back and had to relearn the law. When we came to America, we lost the law and the language. When they brought us here as slavery, we totally lost the language and the law. We had no reference to what the law was because they gave us a slave Bible in English. They told us not to read, not to study. So we end up walking around without the book, without the Torah. And we lost our name. In the Hebraic, this is for you. In the Hebraic awakening, we start to learn the language. We start to learn the language, and almost instantly, people are like, I need a new name. And then we get our names changed. Why is that? Why is it that back in the day, I thought it was really, that man was deep. If he got up and he preached and he brought out some Greek, I was like, man, he got up there and started talking about love. He said, you got the agape, you got a phileo, you got to get some filet mignon. I was like, wow, did you hear that? I was impressed by the Greek. The Greek ain't, I almost said it. The Greek has nothing for the Hebrew. Actually, the Greek is a twist to make you feel enticed, learned, educated. And so you go and you learn Greek because somebody lied to you and told you that the original book was written in Greek. None of the book was written in Greek. The whole book was written in Hebrew. They had to have read Hebrew and Hebraic, Aramaic. The Greeks take the book and try to tell you that it's their book. And the same people that had no problem with hanging your butt on a tree, hanged our Savior on a tree and tell you a lie, and you want to fall for it. Let's read the book. Let me calm down. I'm turning brown. All right, let's read. And it came to pass.
And it came to pass in the 6th week, in the 7th year thereof.
Everybody know where we are, right? Okay, we're in Jubilees, chapter 12.
And it's not in the no, chapter 12. It's
You got it?
And it came to
Hold
pass.
on, I gotta get there now.
Oh.
I gave up my Bible. I want it.
And it came to pass in the 6th week, in the 7th year thereof, that Abram said to Terah, saying, Father. And he said, Behold, here I am, my son. And he said, What help or profit have we from those idols which you worship, and before which you do bow yourself?
This is for you Christians.
Mm-hmm.
What profit is it?
Mm-hmm.
What profit is it? You think that there's profit, but there's I'm here to tell you there's no profit in your faith. There's no profit when somebody can tell you can do a picnic on your butt. You know what a picnic was, right? You know what a picnic was? A picnic is when they would take a nigger and hang him on a tree, right? And then they go underneath and they have a picnic. Take pictures and they do postcards while you're hanging on the tree. They called it a picnic. I'm sorry, I said the N word. I know people get offended, right? But that's where the word picnic, picnic. Okay, thought some education. It was a little Black History moment. All right. So, verse 3.
For there is no ruach in them, for they are dumb forms and a misleading of the heart.
A misleading of the heart. Your heart can be you can be really like, I know I'm right. I know I'm right. I know I'm right. I asked Jesus come into my life. I know I'm right. And you be living foul because you're following the wrong person.
Worship them not. Worship the Elohim of heaven, who causes the rain and the dew to descend on the earth, and does everything upon the earth, and has created everything by his word, and all life is from before his face. Why do you worship things that have no ruach in them? For they are the work of men's hands, and on your shoulders do you bear them, and you have no help from them. But they are a great cause of shame to those who make them, and a misleading of the heart to those who worship them.
How many people have crosses hanging around their neck? Works of the man's hands, idolatry. Yet and it's not just Christians. Now I know some people that consider themselves Christians and wear their little cross on their neck. Some heathens wear their cross on the neck, and actually will do it with a white Jesus hanging on it. And they think that that's fine. And you'll buy an image, a false image, and hang that false image on your neck and consider yourself righteous. A false image. Like he says, you should know the truth, and the truth will make you free. There's no freedom when you're following a false image. And look, I fall right in line with it. I had crosses in my house. I had little angels in my house, right? They're all false images. An abomination. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. Verse 6.
And his father said unto him, I also know it, my son, but what shall I do with a people who have made me to serve before them?
His father said, you're right, son. I know it. You're right. He has a room full of idols, like huge idols. And he knew it. His father, Abraham, his father knew he was wrong. But he's like, what am I supposed to do? Everybody else is doing it. Everybody jumping off the bridge, you jump too. And that's where we are. No one wants to step up and walk in true faith because everybody is doing it. So everybody else is doing it, that makes it fine? No! I almost said H no. All right. Continue.
Verse
7.
And if I tell them the truth, they will slay me, for their soul cleaves to them to worship them and honor them. Keep silent, my son, lest they slay you. And these words he spoke to his two brothers, and they were angry with him, and he kept silent. And in the 40th Jubilee, in the second week, in the 7th year thereof, Abram took to himself a woman, and her name was Sarai, the daughter of his father, and she became his woman. And Haran, his brother, took to himself a woman in the 3rd year of the 3rd week, and she bore him a son in the 7th year of this week, and he called his name Lot. And Nechor, his brother, took to himself a woman. And in the 60th year of the life of Abram, that is, in the 4th week, in the 4th year thereof, Abram arose by night and burned the house of the idols, and he burned all that was in the house, and no man knew it. And they arose in the night and sought to save their Elohim from the midst of the fire. And Haran hastened to save them, but the fire flamed over him, and he was burnt in the fire.
Who was he trying to save?
The idol.
So this idol, he was trying to salvage the idol or save the idol. Isn't the Savior supposed to save you?
Didn't he have, Abraham's father have, he used to build and sell idols? So maybe he's trying to save his stock.
So his brother tries to save the idol. And what happened to him?
He died.
He got burnt to the crisp. All right.
And he died in Ur of the Chaldeans before Terah his father, and they buried him in Ur of the Chaldeans. And Terah went forth from Ur of the Chaldeans, he and his sons, to go into the land of Lebanon and into the land of Canaan, and he dwelt in the land of Haran. And Abram dwelt with Terah his father in Haran 2 weeks of years. And in the 6th week, in the 5th year thereof, Abram set up throughout the night on the new moon of the 7th month to observe the stars from the evening to the morning.
See, I told you, we don't pay attention to the sky. That's out of our ignorance. We don't pay attention to the sky. Abraham sat up all night studying the moon and the stars. Stargazing, we call it all kind of crazy stuff now, but he was looking at the stars, and being able to, and a lot of the ancients that knew the ancient ways, they could look at the sky and could tell you what you're going to read soon, even what kind of weather you're going to have.
And that the first day of the 7th month is Yom Teruah.
And so, thank you, because this is, watch when we get to the covenant. Remember the last time we talked about the covenant? When did the covenant take place? Anybody remember? The Noah's covenant? What holiday was that? What feast day was it? Shavuot. The feast when Abraham gets the covenant. What feast day is it? Yeah, somebody says Shavuot because Yah works in cyclical fashion. Both covenants were given on the same feast day. And you want to keep Christmas. You want to keep Easter. And you're losing it by keeping the false days, because now you're lost. You're completely dumbfounded because you've learned the ways of the heathen. Where are we at? 18? 17.
Well, through 16 again. And in the 6th week, in the 5th year thereof, Abram sat up throughout the night on the new moon of the 7th month to observe the stars from the evening to the morning, in order to see what would be the character of the year with regard to the rains. And he was alone as he sat and observed. And a word came into his heart, and he said, all the signs of the stars and the signs of the moon and the sun and of the sun are all in the hand of Yahuwah. Why do I search them out? If he desires, he causes it to rain morning and evening. And if he desires, he withholds it. And all things are in his hand. And he prayed that night and said, my Elohim, El Elyon, You alone are my Elohim, and you and your dominion have I chosen. And you have created all things, and all things that are the work of your hands. Deliver me from the hands of evil Ruachas who have dominion over the thoughts of men's hearts.
Oh. I hope you have your book open, because there's a spirit. There's not just people's desire. There is an evil spirit that has taken over the hearts of men. It has to be evil. Anytime something is directing you away from Yah and you think you're headed towards him. Any way that they can paint an evil picture of some homosexual person and say, this is God, and you say, oh, I see, and you start headed towards him, and anybody try to tell you, don't go to the light, you're going to burn. Sound like a bug, doesn't it? Don't go to the light. You can scream and yell and be whacking the bug away. And what's the bug going to do? End up going to the light and burn. Following white Jesus is the light that's the direct opposite of what's in the book. And you're going to the light and you're going to burn. You're headed in the wrong direction, but your heart is right. Wrong, you think it's right. You really think it's right. Can't tell me that one of those KKK members don't think they right, and they got their cross up and they got their white Jesus and they think they right. They literally think they are right. And I just picked out one out of all of them because I can keep on going. Episcopals, bishops, Baptists, Pentecostals, all of you, and you're going in that direction and you swear you're right. I'm not any of them. I'm non-denominational. That's a bunch of bull. You're a denomination by saying you're a non-denomination. All right, let's calm down. You're an angry black man. No, I'm not angry. I'm trying to help you.
You got reason to be angry.
Verse 20.
Verse 20.
Deliver me from the hands of evil Ruachas who have dominion over the thoughts of men's hearts, and let them not lead me astray from you, my Elohim, and establish me and my seed forever, that we go not astray from henceforth and forevermore. And he said, shall I return unto the Chaldeans, who seek my face, that I may return to them, and am I to remain here in this place? The right path before you prosper it in the hands of your servant, that he may fulfill it, and that I may not walk in the deceitfulness of my heart, O Elohai. And he made an end of speaking and praying. And behold, the word of Yahuwah was sent to him through me, saying, get you up from your country, and from your kindred, and from the house of your father, unto a land which I will show you, and I shall make you a great and numerous nation.
I just got goosebumps because when you read through this, you're starting to see that before he said, come out from amongst them and be separate, Abraham already had a heart towards him. And he started asking them, like, yeah, they wrong. They're going to church on Sunday. They eating pig. They eating lobster. They're doing all the stuff that you said not to do. They wrong. And I think their hearts are being led by some evil spirit. Don't let me be led astray. Where is it that says, who has bewitched you? Galatians? I think it is. Who has bewitched you that you would fall in love with some false god, some foreign god? Okay. Watch this, because it gets interesting, because we're going to go back to the name. We're going to go back to the, I'm going to tell you about what happened in Tower of Babel, right? Come on, let's read.
Verse 23. And I will bless you, and I will make your name great, and you shall be blessed in the earth, and in it shall all families of the earth be blessed. And I will bless them that bless you, and curse them that curse you. And I will be an Elohim to you and your son, and to your son's son, and to all your seed. Fear not, from henceforth and unto all generations of the earth, I am your Elohim. And Yahweh Elohim said, open his mouth and his ears, that he may hear and speak with his mouth, with the language which has been revealed. For it has
Hear, he who has an ear to hear, let him hear. He who has an eye to see, let him see. This is directly to any of you that don't think that Hebrew is the language, that don't think that are confused. Now we're going to go back. I want you to read that again, right? That verse. Please open your book and look at this. Jubilees, chapter 12, verse 25.
And Yahweh Elohim said, open his mouth and his ears, that he may hear and speak with his mouth, with the language which has been revealed.
The language which has been revealed. Oh, this gets good.
For it had ceased from the mouth of all the children of men from the day of the overthrow of Babel.
It ceased. Oh, aha!
I thought Abraham was the only one still speaking it.
Nobody was speaking Hebrew. So we're living in a land now where we're learning Hebrew all over again. And guess what? Some of us can speak it. Some of us got a couple things here and there, but we're relearning the language. That's why I said go to Bereshit. I didn't say go to Genesis. That's why I said to go to Talhim, because we're starting to relearn our language. Because this was the language that was the original language. This was the language that Yah spoke when he created and said, let there be. Come on. And when the Tower of Babel fell, the language was taken away. Not only did he give everybody a new language, he took away his language. He's like, you fools think you're going to come up here and take over heaven? Guess what? You're not speaking my language. I wonder if they're speaking, if you're speaking Yah's language. All right, come on, I'm sorry.
Verse 26, and I opened his mouth and his ears and his lips, and I began to speak with him in Ivrit.
In what?
Ivrit.
Ivrit. Everybody knows what Ivrit is, right? It's Hebrew. He said, I began to speak to him in an Ivrit language. Abraham didn't even know his language. His people didn't even know his language. Then he got to teach his family.
So that's why in Genesis, wherever they introduce Abraham, he's called the first Hebrew.
That's why he's called Hebrew. Because he's the first one to start getting back our language. All right.
26, and I opened his mouth and his ears and his lips, and I began to speak with him in Ivrit, in the tongue of the creation.
In the what?
In the tongue of the creation.
In the tongue of the creation. That's why this verse took me a long time to get through this. I had to keep interrupting because it was the tongue of the creation. And let's share something else with you. The ones over in Israel don't speak it properly. They can't because it's a dialogue. That's why they call them Yahweh. Dialect. They can't, it's not in their, if I shared this earlier today, you take some Chinese and some Japanese and you put them in the room together. If you are of that persuasion, you probably can start picking them out. But some of them may even trick the ones that are from that area. Say, use a Korean and say, can you find out which one are Japanese and which one are Chinese? But you know how you can find out the truth? Give them certain words. They don't sound the same. It's not in their vocal cords to pronunciate certain words right. When they try to say it, it won't come out right. When you try to speak our language, if you don't have the melanin in the skin, you probably won't be able to pronounce it right. And because of that, when you try to interpret their language, our language, back to another language, you change it. And that's where you get Yahweh. And because of that, when you start looking at it, you're like, I ain't gonna mess with that one. He's gonna be John. He's gonna be, and you start changing all. You gonna be, you know what? That sounds cute. Your name is. We're gonna call you Matthew, because we can't get. You don't want to put out. You don't want to try to force yourself to speak Netanyahu, Yehukanan. You would rather say Ezekiel than Yechezk'el. Come on.
27.
27.
And he took the Sephirium of books of his fathers, and these were written in Ivrit, and he transcribed them, and began from henceforth to study them. And I made known to him that which he could not understand, and he studied them during the 6 rainy months. And it came to pass in the 7th year of the 6th week that he spoke to his father and informed him that he would have to leave Haran to go into the land of Canaan to see it and return to him. And Terach his father said unto him, Go in peace. May the eternal Elohim make your path straight, and Yahuwah be with you and protect you from all evil, and grant unto you grace, mercy, and favor before those who see you. And may none of the children of men have power over you to harm you. Go in peace. And if you see a land pleasant to your eyes to dwell in, then arise and take me to you, and take Lot with you, the son of Haran, your brother, as your own son. Yahuwah be with you. And Nachor, your brother, leave with me till you return in peace, and we go with you all together.
Okay. This is an abbreviated message. It's short and it's sweet. I'm going to pick up this next week, and we're going to talk more about the covenant of Abraham. I'm cutting short today, but hopefully you come back with us next week and we get into it, because you're going to find, I'll give you a hint. The changing of the names. Abraham changed Abraham's name. He changed Sarah's name. When you become awoke, few things are going to happen. One, you're going to want to learn something about the true nature or the true wording or the true language. And you're going to start looking into the language of Hebrew. You're going to want to be identified as a Hebrew. I know some people that I'm not a Hebrew Israelite. Guess what? I am a Hebrew Israelite. Okay? That's my if you want to say that's my nationality. Thank you. So you're probably gonna want to change your name. And you may not. That's on you. But when you read through Abraham, they changed their name. Sarah's name was changed. Abraham's name was changed. And this was all about the covenant. You make sure that your kids are circumcised. That was part of the covenant. That was like, I got my son, my grandson, I call him my son sometimes, my grandson over there. And I remember going to the, where he got himself circumcised. I was so excited about that day. Remember that, Levi? Probably not. He wasn't in a good mood that day. But he took it like a champ. Come back next week. I see you on here, everybody. Shalom. Thank you for coming and joining us for a few minutes. We'll be back next week. And by the grace of Yah, it's going to be a little longer than today. I should have did last week live so you guys could have experienced that. But I'm going to try to be faithful. If you don't see me on here, call me. I said, what is wrong with you? Where are you? We were in chapter 12. Let's see here. We were in chapter 12. Somebody wrote it down, the Jubilees. Read through that. I think that little chapter has a whole lot of insight, especially with the fall of Babylon, because I don't know that anyone has ever shared with you that the Hebraic language was taken away. And then Abraham brought it back. Let's go find Jeremiah, find the ancient path and walk in it. Hallelujah.
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 Shalom. Questions? My stomach's growling.